Hey everybody, Kenny here. So today I want to talk about the worst build that I've ever made in Vaporum and why I love it. And I love the fact that the devs allowed me to create this character that is honestly unusable pretty much, but it is the best. Now I want to show it off. So in Vaporum, there is a basic class system. At the very beginning, you get to choose from essentially 4 different Iron Man suits, let's say. And these are your classes. There's one that's your... Well, essentially, there's one for each of the main attributes, and then there's one that is somewhat special. So our main attributes in this game... Oops. Did not mean to back up there, but I did. And so we're down here now. Back upstairs. So the attributes in Vaporum are combat, tech, and toughness. Toughness dictates how much of your integrity you have, which, since you're wearing pretty much an exoskeleton suit, that is your health. So your toughness decides the amount of integrity you have and your evasion stat. Tech determines the amount of energy you have, which is this right here. And it grants you a bonus to gadget damage, which are these guys. So, because I have 24 tech, I gain a bonus 72% gadget damage to my superior blowtorch. And combat, get a bonus to your weapon damage and a bonus to your precision. And as we can see in our stats, our precision determines our chance to hit and also our crit chance. So there is a rig that is for combat. There's a rig that's for tech. There's a rig that's for toughness. But I picked the assault rig because the assault rig gives you a bonus to resistance, gives you a bonus to fumium intake, which is pretty much your experience. You get a bonus to the amount you're healed by, and you gain a damage bonus based on the percentage of missing integrity. So right now I'm at a quarter life. And so for this build, what I went for was I wanted all the circuits I invested in to give me the most bonuses possible while I'm at low life. So I invested in dual wielding. By getting all the way to tier 5, I completely removed the penalty to your precision while you're dual wielding. By getting Instigator, I made it that 1 out of every 4 hits should give me a bonus to my melee or ranged speed. Essentially, while you're using a weapon. So this Springbolt Mace here has an attack time of 0.25. So that would increase that by, well, yes, decrease that, I guess, to 0.17, something in that range. Then I got this combat utility capacitor. And the reason I invested in this one instead of in this one, you have to pick one or the other, is that, well, it's been a while, so I think you have to pick one or the other. I don't think when I level up I can choose to get this one as well. But essentially the reason I chose this one is because I read this 5% of melee damage dealt gained as integrity. Of course, this is only when you're dual wielding, so I couldn't go and swap over to this big warhammer here, which increases my damage quite a bit. I couldn't switch to that and get that that damage return. Yeah, that basically that life leech I couldn't get from doing that. It has to be while I'm dual wielding. So that's why I'm set up this way, even though these weapons are quite a bit weaker than what you see there. But the idea behind it was that as I was looking through the different tiers, I also saw that for this complex capacitor, as you can see, I went up to 5, which gives me a 150 bonus to my flat bonus to my integrity and energy. Also gets me this regenerator. Well, I invested in this regenerator so that if my health happens to dip below 25%, then I will regenerate up to that point. So I'll always have this damage bonus here based on my missing health, missing integrity. And that will always make sure that I'm able to recover to that point. And this chest piece I have here gives me another 1.5% of your max integrity as bonus damage. So I get a lot of extra damage from being at low life, and I invested a few points in here, so I get an extra 60% integrity. So this is actually a lot of integrity in this game. Most likely, if you aren't using whatever the toughness rig was called, then you probably will get to this point in the game. You know, if you were doing a more combat focused thing, like you invested in blunt weapons and dual wielding, or handguns and dual wielding, or even rifles and dual wielding, and got this dual limb motorics, or but for blocking or the gadget stuff, then most likely you wouldn't have this much integrity. You'd probably end up at around 1,000 maybe. But because I invested in this, got this big bonus to flat integrity, and then this here gives me a bonus 300 flat integrity. It's a lot of bonus integrity, especially with extra 60% from here, and I get an extra 90% from my toughness. So a lot of bonus integrity from that. Unfortunately, when I originally decided on which of these I was going to invest in, my brain did a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for here? It inflated what I would be reading when I read this integrity dispositor and this combat utility capacitor. Because here, it's saying that 5% of melee weapon damage is gained as integrity. And this here is saying that 2.5% of your max integrity is taken as self-damage. Obviously, 5% of my damage and 2.5% of my max integrity are very different numbers. But every time I would read these, my brain would conflate them. So I would think that if I were to get this and this, that I would be healing past what I would be taking from damage from this feature, which is not the case, obviously. If you read them correctly, you know that's not how this works. So because of that, I essentially made it that my character can't take a hit, because if it's attacking, it's going to die. So because of that, I had to figure out, well, if I wanted to keep going with this character, I shouldn't keep going with this character, but if I wanted to, how would that work? Which led me to changing up my playstyle in this game from being your standard first-person dungeon crawler to being the Hotline Miami of dungeon crawlers. So basically, every encounter for me becomes a murder puzzle. And it's all about figuring out what's the most efficient way to kill everything in a room before it can kill me. So I'm going to do a quick encounter here. Then I'm going to cut ahead a little so you don't have to hear the story dialogue that happens. And then I'll move on to another encounter to show you the way that I play this character, being that it cannot survive as a normal character in this game. Here, turn on my turn-based mode. So this means that every time I move or use an action, things start moving. So, wrong button. You can see I'm doing a good amount of damage, but I am taking damage every single time. And there he goes. And we're back. So you can see that I figured out with this that for, depending on the enemy, this is basically a range build, because if I'm going to be taking damage every time I attack, you'll see in a second why I chose to go into turn-based mode here. Essentially, if I were to get in something's face and let it attack me while I was taking, so 2.5% of 2062 is essentially 50 damage every time I attack. Let's here grab my nice ammo. Let's see which of these guys are coming first. Is a needle boy. I'm going to switch back to my melee setup. Up, back it up. Move, 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 move. That one's got a cannon on it, so we do not want it to be in our range. I'm gonna stick right here. Wait for our needle boy to get back on there. Now, this right here, our basic drainer. Now, there are better ones, but once I completed this build, completing some of those special encounters, those special puzzles, just stopped seeming feasible. So I just stuck with this one. Now, the reason I'm not using it is that the basic drainer gives you back this 15% of my integrity, but only up to 75 integrity. So, as I mentioned, I take 50 every time I attack. So even if I was to use that, I would only get back well, actually, once I did my second attack, then I would only have spent 25 health instead of a full a full 100. So that's all the benefit that gives me. But the only reason I still have it on is that this was on me when I was still using the other form of the build. Here. Okay. Another needle boy. Okay, there. I've noticed that before it gets back to me, I've healed back to my 25%. So, back it up. Oh, I messed up. We're going to do that, back it up. Took more damage than we should have there. Yeah, so this one drops us some nice ammo. Thank you for your ammo. Appreciate it. Usually they don't show up all clumped together like that. Next one should be coming in now. Another gunner. Back it up. Two misses. And I got shot. There you go. Grab some ammo too. Oh no, not ammo. Repair kit. Nice. Let's see what we got up next. Because they don't always show up in the same quantity. Yeah, so this time we've gotten 3 of these needle boys. And 1 gunner. The next one could be a gunner. Or it could be another needle boy. We will see. So by keeping on this fashion, we're able to lure our enemies into a murder corner and progress through this little section. Yep, another needle boy. Yeah, so actually, I think I forgot to count 2 of the gunners. Oh, forgot to count 1 of the 2 gunners. So this should be the last one. All right. Okay. See, like obviously, you know, a kind of tense encounter when you know that any hit could kill you if you were to take on all comers in standard ways. But since this game gives you so many options, I'm still able to keep going, even though it's not particularly advantageous to me to continue in this fashion. So I'm going to show another one this time because I know it's coming. I'm going to put on this advanced decoy beacon, replace our healing one with this. I'm going to switch to these here. So, turn-based mode, forward, hit, Nothing I can do about that. Back up. That way. Turn. Up. Put down our decoy here. But now he's stuck in that corner. And we can just blast. Got away before that one. And it's done. Yeah, so with most of these, we're able to get by, keep on going. This here will give us a lot of extra resistance, which would be nice if we were playing in a way that allowed us to get hit, but we're not. So, not particularly great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go full defensive here. Got our fuel generator. Three, two, one. So due to a very untimely alarm, I've had to redo this part. But in that last attempt, when the alarm went off, I did decide that probably better off using this instead of the shield, since the shield really doesn't make a difference unless you don't end up with one health, with which is kind of the whole deal with this build. Put that on, which gives us a bonus extra 60% precision, and due to our circuit, while dual wielding ranged weapons, the critical hit modifier is increased by 100%. Lots of crits. That's the hope. This on. Know that as soon as we enter the room, there's going to be a buggo right there. There's going to be a shotgun dude right here. We're going to drop our guy right there. Then we're going to start blasting this buggo right here. Got to. Blasting this one up here. Go. Very much depend on those crits here. Oh. Here we go. So, oop. Yep, and I just got myself killed by the turret by pressing side instead of turn. Anyways, so you can see that even in incredibly disadvantageous situations like this, where the game is absolutely stacked against you in terms of being able to win because you've screwed yourself so bad with your own build, it's still a really fun game to play. Like figuring out how to do everything as Hotline Miami style murder puzzles instead of playing it the normal dungeon crawler way is fascinating. And I love that the developers gave players the ability to screw themselves like this to be able to come up with these really neat ideas for how to play a game that wasn't intended to be played this way. Anyways, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. This very terrible but amazing build that you can do in Vaporum. I hope that if you ever get into this game and it's worth playing, it's a very cool game. If you love first-person dungeon crawlers, if you love BioShock, if you love this type of setting, gameplay, this is the perfect game for you. And I absolutely love it. Anyways, hope that if you ever do try it, this will be something that you choose to engage in down the line when you're feeling bored and you've already beaten the game with like 3 other characters. That's gonna be for me. Thanks for watching. You have a great day.